top tier A+++ freelancers have impeccable calendars. I have never seen a successful freelancer without an organized calendar of some kind. It's truly a non-negotiable. So if you're after that beautiful, sparkling, crystal spanking clear, time-blocked calendar as a freelancer so you can keep track of everything, all clients, all projects, all tasks, you are in the right place. In this video, you can peek over my shoulder as I walk you step by step through how I set up, manage, and time block my calendar as a freelancer, juggling multiple clients. Hey, my name is Dea, freelancer, digital business manager, most recently entrepreneur. And as always, you can find sections on the play bar below if you want to skip to a certain part of the video. Your time is precious, take what you need. If you want to watch this on 2x, I won't be offended in the least. Okay, let's dive into the video. All right, we're getting up close and personal, and let's look at this together. I'm gonna pull open a blank calendar first of all so that we can start this from scratch. This is your one calendar, by the way. We want to make sure everything is consolidated into this one location. We don't want to have different accounts, different emails, calendars under different emails. We want one synchronized account for our calendar so that we can be sure nothing is missing from this one place. We want to just be able to check one place and know that it has every single thing we need to be doing every single week. So this is just a Google Calendar, and let's dive into the step by step. So the first thing that I'll normally do is set up the calendar itself. What I do is I set up different types or categories of calendar activities. This just allows me to separate out types of events and most importantly, color code everything, which makes me very, very happy. So I normally have one calendar for every single client. I normally have a calendar for admin stuff in the business. So things like checking emails, invoicing, accounting, all those small annoying things that have to get done for the business to run. I normally have a calendar for sales and marketing. So this sales and marketing category for your business, this one might require more or less time on your calendar depending on how booked you are. If you notice that your calendar has a lot of gaps and you want to be fully booked, then you might fill some of those gaps with sales and marketing time blocks that ensure that you're bringing in clients so that you can fill up your calendar with paying work. And I normally have one for personal errands, so not so fun stuff like going to the tax office, doctor's appointments, and another one personal for fun things like breaks and hobbies, petting cats, seeing friends, going to get boba, that kind of stuff. And I'll make different colors for each calendar. So let's go ahead and do that. You'll just go here to other calendars and we'll go to create new calendar. And I will go ahead and add all of the things we just talked about in. An optional tip here, I like to use a prefix before the calendar name. I personally just like it because it gives me a further category to group all these things together with. And I like it when they're all properly categorized on the left-hand side and like grouped together. So like personal things are grouped together, client stuff is grouped together, and then business stuff is grouped together. But that's optional, so you can decide if you would like to do that. All right, so now all of our calendars are set up. We're gonna go back so we can look at it all. It accidentally made two of these, so I'm just gonna remove that one. Now you'll see that the default Google Calendar colors are a lot in your face. I feel like they're very drastic, very high contrast, and personally I want my calendar to be an oasis of peace and calm, that when I look at it I'm not feeling overwhelmed by all the colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and tweak each of the colors so that they are a little bit more muted, more pastel, but obviously that's an aesthetic optional choice for you. To change the color you can just go here and then you can pick from these. I personally don't love their options. I think these three are cute, but everything else I'm not a huge fan of, so I will go into add custom color, and you can go find like a color palette online that gives you the hex code, and you can just copy the hex code into here if you would like to do that. Personally, I know the pastels are like in this region, so sometimes I drop them based on what I know I'll like. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna fast forward because this might take a little bit. So now all the colors are organized here on the left-hand side. You can see that the biz things are kind of this purple color, the client stuff is like different shades of blue, and the personal stuff is green stuff because green is one of my favorite colors. So now that that is all set up, the foundation is set, we're gonna go ahead and add in all time-specific things as our step 2. We're gonna add in all regular occurrences that happen at specific times, things that we can't really adjust or be flexible about. So for me, for example, that was 1 weekly call per client, check-in calls. I might have bi-weekly team calls. I might have monthly reporting calls. I might have ad hoc calls with different stakeholders and different clients' businesses. So ideally, all of those things are already in your calendar. If they're not, just make sure you put them in there so that you have that place to keep track of everything so that you don't miss any calls. And anything else that is personal, that is time sensitive, I will add in as well. So for example, if I have to go pick up passports somewhere, if I have a doctor's appointment, all of those things I'm going to put in here right now as an example. Just put them in the right category as well. And if they repeat, then I'll just go here into repeat weekly. And then that will just make sure that it carries it through for the end of time. All right, so once I have all of my very time-sensitive things in here, then we will go into creating time blocks as our next step. So we want to batch our client and our admin things. We don't want to be context switching as freelancers. We don't want our calendar and our time and our day to be like the wild, wild west where we work on 40 things at the same time. We're jumping around between tasks, between client work, all of that stuff. We want to make sure that things are grouped together as much as possible so that it's not detrimental to our time and sucking away that precious energy. So let's time block. And some things I like to keep in mind while I time block is I try to, as much as possible, when it comes to things like meetings and stuff like that, I try to bulk them in the same days of the week or same sections of the day so that I can limit distractions as I'm trying to get deep work done. Because, you know, like when you're trying to get something done, it takes you maybe like 2-3 hours to properly get into the flow of everything. If you have calls every 30 minutes, all day long for like 5 days a week, it's just a disaster. So I try to always front load my meetings to Mondays and Tuesdays so that I can be sure that all my calls are done. And then Wednesdays through Fridays, I know I have uninterrupted time. I have more flexible times where I can adjust things for personal things, or I can just like really get a good chunk of work done at certain times of the day. Another thing I like to keep in mind when I am time blocking is I like to keep time zones in mind. So I like to time block when I know those clients will be active and working so we can go back and forth quite a lot. So for example, for US clients, I would put time blocks in the afternoon so that they're waking up and getting started with their day and we can like kind of get going on what we're both going to be working on that day. And with EU clients, I'll time block them in the mornings because I know my morning is their morning and we can just get going together in the morning. So that's just something that I like to keep in mind so that it's easier for the clients to talk to me during those time blocks and all that good stuff. And one more thing I like to do, which we will get into now as we're beginning to time block, is I like to plan my work around certain meetings, or I would like to book meetings inside of time blocks to keep it all super organized so that if I have to, I have some time to get work done before a meeting so I can present it, or just so I'm already in the context of their business. So when we talk about it, I'm very familiar because I've been working on it for the past hour. And after that call, when I'm still steeped in this business, what we just talked about, that I have some time to work or finish up something that we talked about on the call. So those are just some things I like to personally keep in mind, but obviously you can adjust them to see however you would like to do your time blocks. But before we put in client time blocks, something that I like to do is I like to put the scope of my day, so the start of my day and the end of my day as a freelancer. I like to have that boundary so that I have that separation between work and life. So the first thing I normally do as part of my morning routine as a freelancer is I'll normally do admin for 30 minutes. So I'll just go ahead and add that time block on here. So I'll do like 9:30 to 10. I normally do admin, so I just check emails, make sure that my to-do list is going okay and that everything is as planned. And let's just repeat that every weekday so that that shows up. Perfect. So now admin 9:30 to 10 a.m. And then the other category that I would really invite you to think about is sales and marketing, to see how important that is for you. Even if you're fully booked, I still recommend putting sales and marketing on your calendar because you want to make sure you still have clients in your pipeline in case, knock on wood, anything occurs that we don't want it to occur. If a client lets you go, or, it's also good just to be brushed up on interview skills and know what's going on in the client hunting space so that you never feel too out of touch. So I might put in, let's say our priority is to land one more client, then I might put in 30 minutes of sales and marketing on the back of my admin, and you can adjust this however you see fit. Like so, and I will just repeat that as well every weekday. And obviously, just as a quick note, these weekly calls should be the events that are being sent to the client as well, so that you both have the synchronized same version and you can put the link inside, and if any adjustments happen, that both people are aware of them. So that's the start of my day, and then normally I like to put at the end of my day, I like to check my emails and kind of close out my to-do list, make the to-do list for the next day or something. So I'll put an admin normally around 5 p.m. as well. And this one can be shorter, it can just be 15 minutes. Admin, like that. And now I kind of have like a beginning and an end to my day. And then on Fridays, normally I'll take the day off earlier. So I'm just gonna do my day off ends at 4 p.m. on Fridays, and then I'll just repeat it only on Fridays, like this, repeat every week on Friday, done, save. Like that. And now I kind of have the boundary of when my day begins, when it ends, and I can put everything in between and know that the rest of the time is for obviously personal fun stuff, that kind of stuff. And so like I mentioned, I really like doing time blocks around my meeting times. And here you can kind of see that Beatrice and Jenny are both EU clients, so I try to do them during the morning. And then Esther is an US client, so I like to do her stuff in the afternoon when I know she is waking up and can talk to me about certain things, or if I have questions, I can ask her, that kind of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll put time blocks to kind of fit everything, and then we'll talk about it after I do it. All right, so that's what my time blocks look like. I try not to change my time blocks too much because I like to have consistency. I like to know that, from 1 to roughly 3 p.m. my time block is for Jenny, and that I don't have to check my calendar on a Tuesday and be like, which exact time block is it? I like to know my mornings are for this client, my afternoons, and then my late afternoons are for certain clients. So that's the way I like to do it, but obviously you can adjust it however it best fits your schedule. And you'll see that the weekly calls are always tucked into the time block so that I have time to prepare before and to continue to work on it after. So that's just personal preference kind of thing. And another thing that I would highly recommend to you is, as much as possible, make sure you add in buffer time and padding around your stuff. You don't really want to pack everything tail to tail, head to tail, because you want to be sure that if something does go over, if you need a little bit extra time, that you're not stressed about it. And plus, those white times in between are your breaks, right? You need a break. You are human. So make sure that time is on your calendar. And if you're not respecting these white breaks and you're kind of just continuing on to the more work, then schedule in those breaks. Add those breaks onto your calendar so that you actually have to take them. They're so important for you to just reset and come back into your work excited and feeling good and not wanting to cry a lot. So that's what the time blocks could look like for if you have 3 clients, if you have clients that are of different retainers, let's say one client takes up a majority of time, you can just drag it out and make sure that most of your time goes to that client and adjust it accordingly. Now, the next step is what I do at the start of every week on Monday morning. I'll go into my calendar for the week and I'll add in what I will do into my calendar blocks themselves. You can actually set up tasks in your calendar from Google Calendar, or you can just add into your time blocks and take it off elsewhere. So what you'll do is you'll pull open your Freelancer HQ. If you don't know what that is, you have to watch my other video about it. But basically what that is a list and an overview of all tasks you have to get done for every single client. It's your one brain dump location that has everything that you need to still do. And I will take those and put them into the calendar so that they're actionable and they're actually going to be done and not just live on this list forever. So for example, if on my HQ for Esther, I have to set up and plan an upcoming team retreat, then I will just go into the time block on Monday. I will add that in. So I'll just do like, let's say I estimate it'll take me 45 minutes. I'll add that in and I'll tick task, and then I'll say begin researching retreat locations, and then I'll save, and then it will be right here. And then once I finish it, I can just tick it off, which is really nice. And once that's finished, I can just mark complete and that will be done. And that's a really great way to, like make sure that you are actually being realistic about how many tasks you can get done in certain time blocks. And it's a really great way to make your HQ actionable so that not everything is just kind of like a gigantic pile of things to do and you have no idea when you're going to do those things. You have no idea about priority, but that you can slot everything in. So I might add a second task, then ask team about preferences and pull the final options like that, tasks like that. I might add like 3 or 4 tasks per time block, whatever is realistic, and then set up team onboarding document for new hires maybe. So that's how I would organize my calendar in terms of time blocks. And once I have those time blocks on my calendar, I know what I should be working on at different times a day. And then I will slot in the tasks that I need to get done for the clients based on what we discussed into those time blocks and ensure that I actually realistically can get those things done. And it's a great way to plan ahead where if you notice you have way too much stuff for a client and not enough time that they're paying you for, that you can let them know, hey, these are the things I won't be able to get to this week, that kind of stuff. And now you have a calendar that every week has all of your clients on it, tells you clearly what to do, when to ensure things get done. Ta-da! And the 5th step is to make sure you're auditing your time on a monthly basis. Check where your time is going and your current priorities for your business. You know, if your business needs more clients and you notice you don't really have enough time blocks for clients, make those time blocks sales and marketing, right? You need to get that sales and marketing time up. If your first client is taking up 30 hours a week and not paying you what is worth 30 hours of your time, you need to raise your rates or lower your time with this client, right? That's an easy way to overview, where if you notice that a client is giving you so much stuff and all of your time blocks for them are completely filled and are completely in line with what they're paying you, then you know they're giving you too much work and it might be time to discuss, hey, do you want to increase my retainer? Hey, do you want to let's discuss, right? And if you're feeling burnt out as a freelancer, if you're feeling exhausted, if you are like, oh my gosh, this is way too much, then you need to be adding more fun things into your calendar, more breaks, removing work times, and adding in these green things. Not errands, but these dark green things, fun things, and the white stuff, right? The break stuff, so that you can always recharge and come back into it. And that's how I set up my calendar as a freelancer. If you have any questions, let me know below.